Yo, what it do, St. Louis? Y'all know what time it is. It's 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. So what does that mean? That means it's time for the St. Louis Hustle podcast. And we're talking to spank or not to spank, right? Or is spanking your children actually causing more harm than good? I don't know. We're going to talk about it today, man. I mean, some people say beat they assets. Some people say, hey, put them in timeout. Let's figure out what is the best option because we know that trauma can last a lifetime. So let's figure out what's the best. So answer this question before we officially start the show. Do you spank your kids or do you use alternative methods to discipline them? So y'all keep it locked right here, man. We got a barn burner for you right here on St. Louis Hustle Podcast.
Growing up in St. Louis has never been easy, and most say if you want to succeed here, that you must leave and put down roots somewhere else because of the strong crabs in a barrel mentality here.
I don't know if I'm just an optimistic person, but to see people like Chuck Berry and Nelly make it in the music industry, or the Roberts brothers and Dave Stewart in business, or William Lacey Clay Jr. in politics, can we blame the city, or is it that people just aren't hungry enough?
We're talking to all of the movers and shakers in this town, from entertainers to politicians, social activists and organizers, and of course, entrepreneurs.
Is there a curse on this city that holds people back? Is there an unseen hand that decides who makes it and who doesn't? You're about to find out.
Welcome to St. Louis Hustle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. That is my lovely co-host, Michelle. Hey. We're coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life Academy studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. What is Monetize My Life Academy? It is the premier digital marketing mastermind that allows you to learn everything that you need to know about this online marketing world. If you got products or services and you're trying to figure out how to leverage social media, how to leverage the internet, how to do email marketing, all of that kind of stuff, man, your boy got you covered. All you got to do is go to monetizemylifeacademy.com and you'll get everything that you need to know. Starting at just $10, you can be in a class with your boy every single month on these various subject matters. Chalet, how's it going, sis?
What up? What up? What up, man? What's going on? How you doing? You all right?
I am well. I've been screaming at myself in the mornings because my coach said, hey, Cortez, you need to start taking cold showers, brother. You actually come out a new person every day. I'm like, man, a cold shower, what? And the only way you can get through it, Michelle, is if you scream at yourself. So, yeah, my voice is a little raspy, but other than that, I am good. I am good.
Ain't that the way to catch pneumonia? Don't you catch pneumonia doing stuff like that? You actually take a cold shower in the morning.
Yes.
Like bird. Wow.
Yeah, like it was cool when it was summertime, Michelle, and the water don't be that cold.
Right.
Yeah. Them waters coming from them St. Louis pipes underground, man. Yeah.
Man, I did that one time. I had a little issue though with the cleat though. With Spire, I'm sorry. I had a little issue with Spire. I took some cold showers, but whole nother thing.
It wasn't a choice.
Right. I have a choice. Man, so this weekend, because I knew you should have asked, hey Shell, what you do this weekend, Queen? Well, I would say, well, Cortez, this weekend I got out with a friend of mine. But I got out and did some things this weekend, had a really cool time, and I ain't gonna speak on nothing now because y'all kind of know. But I think y'all know too that like, oh no, I be trying to get along with people. I be trying to keep a man, but sometimes it just don't work out. I don't think it's me.
Don't work all the time. Some people don't be trying to get along with you.
Well, thank you. I'm just like, I don't think it's me. I really don't. I check myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm nice most times. I'm considerate most times, and I don't ask for a whole lot. I'm just saying. So I'm still working through some things, but so far so good.
Nice.
So far, so good. So let's get into these COVID numbers real quick.
Before you get into the COVID numbers,
no.
I want people to answer the question of
Yes.
the day. Do you spank your kids or not? Do you still believe in spanking? Yay or nay? If you answer the question of the day, put in QOTD and then give us your answer, because everybody who answers the question of the day gets entered into a drawing, what we do live on Wednesdays at noon. And you can win a free vacation as long as you take Michelle with you.
Hey, I'm going on vacation. So whoever wins, just let me know when to be ready.
So, question of the day: do you believe in spanking the kids or no? And we're gonna give our answers throughout the course of the show. So, COVID numbers, Shelley, what we looking like?
They have. Next, no. Yeah, it is what it is. They talk about this other strand. Y'all wear a mask, please. Cover up your faces. Cover up all this wonderfulness. Put a mask on, is what I'm saying to you people. They said this other strand is like, it's like that, right? No. The first one was like, but this other strand is like, wham, we don't want that. So keep covering up. Places are slowly kind of coming back. I will say, I'll be honest, because y'all know I love a good party. That's why my name is Michelle A. It's for a reason. So I love a good party, but there's a spot that I normally would frequent, and I know the party always be jumping. And I went past there, like when they lifted and let the bars and stuff open back up. I went past there, and when I say it was cars on top of cars on top of cars on that parking lot, I just drove right on past. I said, you know what, too many cars on that lot? I mean, too many people inside. I ain't doing it, people. I ain't doing it. So yeah, just keep masking up, and stay safe. Missouri, our numbers, we rose a little bit. It's not too bad. We rose about 20K to 483,000. Illinois, 1.11. Y'all was at 1.7. Now y'all like a dice game. Y'all at 1.11 million.
Gotcha.
So gotta just kind of watch that. So shout out to all our first responders. Wow, we love y'all. And I got one thing to say, just aside from that, because we have so much, we're gonna we got to pack it to this day. I was watching the news last night, and they was talking about how they trying to take Andrew Jackson off the 20 and slide in old Harriet. Harriet Tubman going on the $20 bill. And they trying to make that thing real. They talked about it before, but Biden, like, I'm here, and Kamala, like, hey, what you gonna do? I mean, you did this, but I think if you just really want to ride out for us, slide up on that 20. I'm just like,
going down. Now watch this. This is my thought, Michelle, and I might be wrong. They put old Harriet on the 20, and then go to digital currency.
Right, you're there. You go take.
Because like, hey, we finally got a breakthrough. Yeah, Harriet. All right, we're everybody bring in your money. It's going to be shredded. Everybody now has to use some sort of digital currency, Bitcoin, or so. Like, wait a minute, wait. We just got
right. Harriet in the grave, turn it over like that. Gummit. I thought I had arrived. Oprah was like, they didn't put me on the 20. I'm like, y'all bypass. I get it, and I'm probably gonna send your comments to that dude right there. But I was just like, y'all bypass Martin Luther King. I mean, Harriet Tubman, that was my girl, but y'all bypass Martin Luther King. Even Oprah was like, Harriet, you know what I'm saying? Oprah was like, really? But I mean, would you? There's an oxymoron, but would you really spend the 20 with Harriet's face on it? Now, people that's prejudice, you know what I'm saying? They're going to just start taking 5s and 10s and just go to 100s or 50s and 100s. I'm not spending.
20s over here. We
right.
That.
You're like, yeah, hit me off with them Tubmans. Really? Is it take them?
I think the idea is, Michelle, when they're going to do it, they like, okay, look at all the things we get accomplished. We get a Black person on there. We get a Black woman on there, all in one foul swoop. Boom. Right. Now we can shut them up for another 50 years. Right.
Right.
That's kind of really and a Black woman at that. So now it's a done deal. Right?
They could have found a better picture of Harriet, though. I'm sure all her pictures didn't look like that. All of
Yeah,
them couldn't have.
Harriet at some point did doll up a little bit. Y'all
She
couldn't
had
find
to.
those pictures. She wasn't always in the railroad saving folks.
Thank
I
you.
mean, she spoke in front of Congress and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had to get right out the mud. She's coming right out the river
You
with 15 people behind her. And that's the picture y'all gonna use really.
That's right. She tired. She been working. She been walking. She been sweating. Harriet didn't smile. Y'all couldn't get this picture. No, y'all got the picture right out the river. She looking a hot mess. Come on,
Right.
They was wrong. What they was doing? Give us ugly money. We gonna give money, but we gonna make it ugly money. Okay.
Nice. Don't forget, guys. Question of the day: do you still believe in spankings? William says, "Yeah, spank their sweet self." Right. So if you're responding to question of the day, put in QOTD if you want to be entered into the drawing to win that free vacation, people.
That is hilarious. Spank their sweet self. Good. Hilarious. So real quick, we're gonna jump into something, and I'm not gonna take a lot of time with it, but we're gonna take it for a test drive. We're gonna jump into something. We're gonna do this new segment, and I was kind of pondering about. So we're gonna call this new segment the A word of the day, right? So I'm gonna try to give y'all a little something, a word or a phrase, and hopefully, so I can sprinkle y'all with a little something. But knowing me like you know me,
Michelle, sprinkle
you, sprinkle. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to try to make it inspirational without putting too much Michelle in it. But, if you know me like you know me, it'll be inspirational, but some Michelle going to work its way in. So I was thinking about the word why, right? Why? We ask a lot of questions. We're naturally inquisitive as people. We want to know the why behind the what. We want to know the mysteries of life. You think as a society, especially Americans, we're entitled. If something happened, we got to know why, right? We ask questions of our family. Example, you might ask your family, why don't nobody ever eat my dressing at Thanksgiving? Ain't it supposed to be crunchy? Dressing's supposed to be crunchy, right? We ask our employers, why ain't get that promotion? I mean, so what? I come in late and I leave early, but them 6 hours I give you, the best 6 hours of my day, and then we always asking God, why, Lord, why, right? So short and sweet, I just come to realize that some answers we're gonna get in life. Sometimes you get the why, the why behind the what, but then sometimes we just not gonna know why. Things happen. Sometimes good things happen and we happy. We don't need to know why when good happens. When the bad happens, we want to know why. And just sometimes we don't get the answer on this side, right? So I did some research. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12, that on this side, we're going to know in part. We'll know a little bit now, and we won't know the rest until we get on the other side. And then we'll know fully. Those things that need to be fully known. And so that just says to me, at the end of the day, we have to learn how to trust God in those unanswered questions more than our desire to want to know the answer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for peace of mind. Boom. So that's the A word of the day, is why I take that with you. Have a great day. Now, boom. I think we got a break coming up, don't we?
We do. And the A word of the day could very well be sponsored by you, people. Listen, if you know some folks who got products and services, businesses that they need help getting promoted, then please send them our way, because they could very well sponsor the show. They can sponsor a segment like the A word of the day, and we can help them get their brand more recognition. And guess what? If you send us somebody who ends up sponsoring the show, we got a 10% finder's fee for you. So it's blessings all the way around. So this segment was sponsored by, could have been you.
That's a good one.
D. Beckley put QOTD, but you didn't give us your answer. What is your answer? So QOTD, are you with spanking or nay? And I'm gonna save my answer, Michelle. Y'all might be surprised. Me raising 5 sons, y'all might be surprised at how I handle discipline over here
Ooh.
in the Thornton estate, the Thornton Empire? How do we handle the youngins around here?
That'll be interesting to know. I'm a commentary. I've done some studying, and we got some stuff we're gonna get into and break down. And so I'm gonna give my commentary all the way through because I got two opposing opinions to share with you guys. So we'll dive into that.
On the other side of this break. Keep it locked right here. Hey, good morning, Wealth Champions. Hey, listen, if you want to be financially successful, then you have to do what financially successful people do. And I know there's a few things that all wealthy people have in common. Number one, they understand that building wealth is a team sport. Number two, they understand the power of capitalism and business enterprise. Number three, they love to use systems and leverage. And number four, they all have mentors. My name is H. Cortez, also known as Financial Health Mentor. And for the last 5 years, I've been helping hardworking Americans get all of these things in place with one single membership. If you want to learn more about that, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com. Again, that's myperfectmoneyplan.com. And you're going to get a team of professionals, so you're not building wealth by yourself. You're going to get a system that's going to help you transform your finances. And last but not least, you're going to get some great mentorship to help you execute your game plan. So again, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. That's my co-host, Michelle A. And we got an interesting topic to talk to you guys about today. We're talking about to spank or not to spank. Now, if you're around my age, I always got to do the math, Michelle. I'll be 48 this year, I think.
Really?
I'll be 40. Yeah, I'll be 48 this year, I believe.
Really?
47. I'm 40 something, y'all. And I came up in the era where it was all about beating that asset. If you did something remotely wrong, you got your tail kicked. Not only did you get your tail kicked by your parents, but you could get your tail kicked by a surrogate parent. Somebody would, what they say in the church, Michelle, somebody will step in the gap for your parent and beat your butt if your parents ain't around.
Jesus, that is.
They will step in the gap. If you out in the community making your family look bad, then your family's friend is gonna snip that in the bud, step in the gap for your mama or your daddy, and snap you right on up. So my question is, was that a good thing or was that a bad thing? Did it cause more harm than it did hurt? Did it cause people like me to go in my shell when I should have been soaring with the eagle?
Ooh,
I don't know.
Wow.
It could have been. I could have been beaten into introvertism, Michelle, is what I'm saying.
Really? You know what? See, so here
we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
What?
So answer the question of the day: to spank or not to spank? If you answer with QOTD in front of your answer, that lets us know you're answering the question of the day. You get entered into a drawing, which we do on Wednesdays at noon, and we give away a free vacation every week for everybody who participates in the question of the day.
Got to do that. So I was spanked as a child. You know, my mother used to dog walk me. However, you know what I'm saying? When I look back, I'm just like, I survived, but did I die though? That's my pastor used to say. But did you die though? I didn't die. I lived to tell another tale. And I didn't understand spanking until I got kids. You know, when I was coming up, I got it. But I never thought that my mama didn't love me. And this is the honest God's truth. And this wasn't the epiphany I got older. When I was older, I got this when I was younger. Yes, I got my behind toe up, but my mother had such in all of her because my mom used to be an eye duck at times. But in all of her ways of doing what she did, she still had a way of showing me love, even when she would discipline me. And she would always explain. She didn't do a lot of explaining, but because she came from that era, she was a baby boomer, I believe. And so they really don't believe in explaining nothing. They do as I say because I said so.
Right.
But I would get a spanking, and then she would always make sure after the smoke cleared, dust settled, come on, let's talk about it. You know, here's why I did this. Here's why you can't do it. And there were some times when she didn't, but in the times when she saw I was really confused about it, baby, if you touch the stove, you're going to burn yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. Okay. And you kept touching it. So I have to give you this so that you don't come up with 3rd, 4th degree burns, but because you kept reaching for stuff on the stove. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I never, at least from my mom, I never thought that she didn't love me, even though she was the disciplinarian. My dad, I can count on one hand the times that he spanked me. You know what I'm saying? But my mom, she used to put it down.
Yeah.
Like, woo. But I never thought I wasn't loved. I never felt, I've been an extrovert all my life, you know, even at a time where I felt like I didn't fit in, or I felt like, you know, I was being bullied or whatever. I still was extroverted. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I know I'm gonna say something that's gonna put the bullies focus on me, but I can't shut up. I just can't. So, man.
All right, let's see. Before we get into your fact finding, D. Beckley says, I am against spanking in my home now. However, I have been pro spanking in the past. I now deem it archaic and a last-ditch effort to establish control. We should not aim to control our children, but teach them. I will remove things like luxuries and so on and so forth. Michelle, it's funny that you talked about, you know, your mama really putting it down. And I remember, and I was just sharing this with my wife just the other day. I remember when I was living with my dad. So my story is, I lived with my dad 2 years of my life, in 1st grade and then 3rd grade. And pretty much it was my mom, single mom, no real male figure in the household, right? But I remember we were talking about report cards. We was watching Family Feud, and one of the questions was, what might a kid do with a bad report card? And Michelle, not only did I hide my report card, I hid my whole book bag under some leaves on the side of the house one year. It's like, oh no, Dad, we don't ever have no homework. They don't believe in that.
They don't even believe in books, apparently, or book bags.
Goes out, and because he worked 2 jobs, he couldn't check up on me like he wanted to. But that book bag stayed stashed until the spring, and when it was time to go out and do the spring cleaning and the raking of the leaves, this joker went out there and started raking the leaves on the side of that house. And he pulled that bag out, and he was like, "Oh,
how's you going to school without a book bag?"
And I told my wife, he went and got a switch. Now, this is Tupelo, Mississippi, so it was switches down there. And I don't know why, Michelle, but I was like, Dad, you did a really good job. That switch is pretty. I was really impressed by his switch selection. It was like
really gonna hurt.
Aerodynamic. It was like, I mean, the way he picked the leaves. I mean, it was properly proportioned from thick to thin. It was
right.
I was like, man, I'm really impressed. I'm about to get it. But that switch selection, Dad, I got to give it to you. That mother.
Great choice.
Now, come on, give it to me. Let's get it over with.
Right. I admire the switch selection.
Normally, he had me go pick my own switch, but for this one, he's like, "Nah, I got this one, son. I got this one."
I'm happy you picked it, Dad, because I wouldn't pick one like that. That's a good. Mine would broke.
Wouldn't know how to pick that.
Right. That is. Real quick, now we'll say this. My mother never spanked us with anything other than a belt, and she never hit us anywhere other than lower body. So I realize some people got different versions of beat downs, but she never whooped us anywhere other than on the butt of the legs. But she only with a belt. Where some people I know, they used to whoop with the extension cord, hangers, no more wire hangers, the Hot Wheel racing track. Now, some folk that shall remain nameless, if they are watching this live, I used to see them get the Hot Wheel track out, and I used to my little cousins. I used to be like, run, 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 because she was coming with the Hot Wheel track. I was like, oh Lord, you gonna kill them.
And then when they realized how effective the Hot Wheel track was, they kept a piece. So I can never fully assemble my Hot Wheel track because it's part of your depth collection. So you know, my car goes around. I'm missing the leg of the track right here.
That's what the bridge is out. The bridge is out. You got to jump it. Oh man. So I was doing some study online, and you got to see somebody else's kids get in trouble. Hilarious. It's a whole other thing. Okay. So I was doing this research online. So I got two different perspectives, right? We'll chop it up a little bit. So my first perspective is pro spanking. 5 reasons why parents spank. Okay. I ain't going to say that I endorse them, but I understand them. Right. The first reason they say is you spank to love. You have to love your child enough to be tough and do what's necessary to get the desired results. Parent first, friend second. I spank you because I love you. That's why I'm going to tear your tail wide open, because I love you. Reason number 2. You want to be respected. To be feared in the same sense of reverence, not I'm scared, but reverence, is to be respected. Your children should be weary of going against your rules. It also teaches them to submit to authority, regardless of whether or not they agree.
Well, okay.
There's some points there. You want to teach them how to make good decisions. Our destinies are determined by decision making. Very true. Children have the option to obey or face the consequences, and they need to know that consequences can hurt. That is, in some definitions, really hurt.
I'm whipping my kids so they can know what pain is going to be like. Is that I just need them to know that the consequence could hurt?
Well, I think it's more of, and I hate to sound like I'm defending this, but I slightly, because I don't believe all whooping is good whooping. Because I've seen some people whoop, and I'm like, that's not whooping, you beating. That ain't cool. Right. But so I would say it's more of this association, because I think when kids are small or young, let me say that. Now, anything under the age of 3, no. You know what I'm saying? And even 3, it shouldn't be any more than a hey, cut that. You don't want to hurt them as much as
get their attention.
That sting gets their attention from whatever it is they're doing. Because if you try talking to a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, stop it. Hey, get down. They look at you like, as they still reaching for what they reaching for. I hear you, but I'm not stopping. Right. And so what is the repercussion? Do you let them get hurt? Like suffer a real hurt, such as touching the stove or wet, sloppy hands touching the outlet? Or do you pop them to get their attention? That's a no. Don't do that. If you do that, I'm going to do this. They don't. So it kind of sets up that in the brain. I think as children grow, and this is my own commentary, as children grow and as parents grow with the child, especially if it's your first one, I think that somehow some people cross the line into getting where the last person that made the comment about getting control. Sometimes it's a thin line between discipline and I just want to be in control, Right. And if you don't be self-aware, then you will cross that line. I'm going to give you these last 2, and then I do want to kind of, because I think this was spoken lightly, and I could probably tell that this particular person, of course, was pro spanking, but they probably are of a certain ethnicity. Right. So the last 2, you want your children to have self-control. When you're aware of what is on the other side of making poor decisions, it's easier to exercise restraint. Again, just like popping a hand. If I know if I touch this outlet, I'm going to get popped, then I'm gonna think I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna look at it, but I'm not gonna touch it.
Right.
Not in every case. And then the last one is you want them to be accountable for every decision has an outcome, good or bad. Just as you reward your child for good, you must also acknowledge and address when they do something that's not good. You know, I think there's a balance there, right? And when we get into the other view of it is, and I don't want spoiler alert, how some people say, okay, you can't just highlight the bad that they do. There has to be balance. You know, and that was one of the things I think my mom did for, you know, because I was that child. I'm the youngest of three, and my brother and my sister were pretty restrained. I was the one. So I was the one. And so she would discipline me. But then when I made good grades or I did something good around the house, we did have those celebratory moments as well. So I never felt like I'm a bad kid because I got punished or got a spanking. I didn't always get a spanking. Sometimes I got sent to my room. I got threatened. Sometimes I got off with it. Right. But, I got a pardon from the warden. But other times, depending on how severe it was, I did, get a spanking.
So there's a comment your answers to the question of the day. Are you for spanking or against spanking? If you put QOTD before your answer, we know that's a response to the question of the day.
Yeah.
And you get entered into a drawing, which happens live on Wednesdays, right here on these very stations, these very platforms. And you can see us draw somebody's name live and you win a free vacation. Corey says, I believe if you are not a safe, reliable, and respected parent, you shouldn't spank kids. Kids have to respect the person spanking to understand the boundary they crossed, the lesson needed to be learned. With COVID or Corona and financial hardships, emotions are high. Spanking shouldn't be the go-to first. Go work out and then think discipline. I'm going to tell you right now, Corey. My mama wasn't trying to go work out before she beat me.
That was the workout.
It was fresh on her mind. She had to take action. Before it was 6 of us, Corey. She beat and forgot what I was supposed to be getting whooped for. So if she didn't do it then I was certainly going to get off.
So, let me tell you. You know what, that's funny you say that, because it takes me back to a time that when my youngest, and I love both my children, but my youngest worked me out. Everything I did to my mama, she did to me 10 times over. And she would cut up in daycare. She wasn't even in school. She cut up in daycare. She mooned in the class. I don't know why she decided she wants to stand up for her class, pull her ass down and show her butt to the class. But that's what she did. And every day when I come get her from daycare, she ain't never with her class. She's sitting in the director's office in the naughty chair every day. So she would, I say, you know what? You get in trouble when you get home. But when I got home, like you said, who's tired? I ain't got time to wrestle with folk all day. I'm not doing this. Go sit down and leave me alone. So she went back to school and they were like, I'm going to tell your mama, you're going to get in trouble when you get home. Nuh-uh, because my mama be too tired to whip me. Okay. They shared that with me. I said, you know what? You sure right. In the bathroom. Huh? What you mean? In the bathroom? I don't have to go. No. Go to the bathroom. Can I get a bill from somebody? And I would go in the bathroom at the daycare and tear her tail up. Because you're right. When I get home, it's a wrap. I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. It got to the point where she knew what was coming. I would come get her from daycare and I'd be like, where's my child? Waiting on you in the bathroom. In the bathroom waiting. Like, hey, how you doing, mama? How was your day? Let's go and do this. Spanking, dare I say, doesn't work with every child. I knew that when I beat my child with a cup of water. How you beat a child with a cup of water? I just grabbed a cup. It had water in it. Water was everywhere. She looked at me like I was crazy. I was in that moment. That was one of the last moments we had. I beat her with a box of rice. Rice went everywhere. I said, I don't think this is working, Lord. I'm wasting water and food. That's not working.
Way. This she's got rhino skin over here. She's not feeling me on this, and that gets really crazy, especially if you're not in control of your emotions as a parent, and you got a kid who's not crying when you're whooping them. You just really want to kill him at that point. It's like, I know you gon' cry, and you just, man, you huffing and puffing, and they like, nope, I ain't crying. I ain't crying.
You know what, though? That is a very good point. And it goes back to something I think Corey just said. I engage as our listeners.
Corey on it this morning.
Right. They got some good stuff going. I think that when you hit the imbalance of where it's not discipline, now you're trying to get control, you're in your emotions, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. And I know as a younger parent, I wasn't that young, but I still was a younger parent. I entered that zone with my youngest daughter, and I had to. We would put on medication. I was like, I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her. You better put on something because this thing, she got to move, or you got to put on some medication, or somebody gotta die. Okay, is it gonna be me or her? I don't know. But I slowly began to realize that. And I see it, of course, now, hindsight, that I probably TMI, we do it today. There are times we can go and get along so awesome and great. My daughter's an adult now. But there are times when she gets disrespectful, and I find myself striving for control, striving for dominance, and that emotion kicks in. And I'm like, that's it. Knuckle up, guard your grill. We about to do this. I ain't got no belt, but I got these hands for it. I got these hands. And
Mama is about to put these paws on you.
I'm about like them deer be just, I don't want to hurt you, but I just want to smack you up real good. And that's not the mind frame to be in. Yeah. And I thank God for conviction, because in a moment when we have those altercations, he convicts me. He can show me, you out of order, Shell, and I can go back and apologize. We have a great relationship. It's not a perfect one, but I love my baby with every fiber, because she is teaching me. I yet still am learning. So
yeah, D. Becky says, that is the rub. It says, we spank kids when we are out of control.
Yep.
That is a parent who needs some discipline.
Yeah. You know what? I hate to say
Daddy,
it, but
you need a spanking now, because you just take this too far. You hit me 10 times. I feel it. Okay, it's over with. But now, because I ain't crying, because I'm a little tougher than you thought, now you're just going to keep on hitting me, or you, come on now, Daddy.
Yeah.
It's going to be over. You about to have a heart attack up in there. You're tired.
Right.
You're huffing, you slipped and fell, and now you're going to blame that on me. So now I get a few extra licks because you failed, because you out of balance.
Right.
No, come on.
Because you ain't work on your core strength. That's not me. You should have went to the gym and worked out. Ain't that what they said you should be doing? You should have went and worked out. It's not my fault. There are so many good points here. When you discipline a child, man, high five yourselves. What is it, D and Corey? Wherever you at, high five yourselves, because you guys are making some awesome points. I think when whooping can't be your go-to. It can't. Yeah. And again, although I'm pro spanking, right? I'm not pro beating. You don't beat your kids, and it shouldn't be the first go-to. There should be a ramp up. You know what I'm saying? And then when it gets to that, you should not whoop mad. You shouldn't whoop with inanimate objects. You know, and it shouldn't be past the point of love. I got to get this to you. But if you whooping in anger, that is how people come up abused. That is how kids come up and they have low self-esteem or low self-worth because they got beaten, they were never loved on. There has to be a healthy balance. And I think from a parent who can honestly say that I didn't always do it right. I thank God I stopped when I did. But and my daughter was about 14. We was about to get it on. It was like, let's get ready to rumble. I was like, in this quarter, I was warming up for the battle. But I'm glad at that point I scared myself, and I'm glad God allowed me to see myself in an ugly way. The last time I tried to discipline my child, she might not have been 14, she might be 12. And I scared myself because I love my baby and I didn't want to hurt her, but I realized I'm struggling to get control. I'm struggling for dominance, and this is not the way to get it, because I could have really hurt her.
Yeah.
That some people don't have that switch. They go all the way to the end. And so I'm thankful, that, when I get some grandkids, not too soon, when I get some grandkids, I'm going to get some do-overs, I'm going to get some do-overs. So,
yeah. And I love that. And I think that really becomes the challenge here is control versus respect.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's what we as parents have been taught, is that we got to get control of these kids. We've got to be in control, and they got to do what I say,
Yep.
because I'm going to give you a definition of leadership, right? Because some of you guys don't know, I started out, I got 5 sons. My wife had 2 children when we got together from a previous marriage, and there was no way I was going to let that dude outdo me. So I gave her 3 more. So now we have 5. So I win. I gave her 3, gave her 2. I won. So we have 5 sons, right? And I did start out raising them the way that I was raised. But then I realized that when there is respect, then there's another way that you can discipline, right? And I started studying leadership here last summer or so, and one of the definitions that I really resonate with, it says the act of leadership is getting people to do what needs to be done because they want to do it.
There it is. Yeah.
So as a leader of my household, I've got to get my kids to clean their room because they want to do it. So how do I find the buttons to push to motivate them to take that action that I need done, but they've got to feel like they want to do it for whatever reason? And I think there's a lot to unpack here, and I'm not by any means telling anybody how to raise their children. But just like spanking could go left and cause trauma, so could words. For me, physical touch is my love language. So when I'm touched inappropriately, or when I'm touched physically, and I don't feel like it's coming from a loving place, that hurts me more than the average person, right? Words of affirmation is my secondary love language. So when you talk to me out the side of your neck, it's different than when you tell some kids, you can tell, sit down, shut up, you stupid, sit your dumb ass down, and it just rolls off because that don't mean nothing to them.
Right.
But for me, it crushes. Right. So I think one of the things that we have to really understand is really know our kids and know what does what. And you can't parent every kid the same, just like you can't love them all the same.
Absolutely.
I know you love your kids equally, but you can't love them all the same because it's impossible. They're all individual beings. How can you love all of them the same, right? So I think there's a lot of dynamics as parents we have to consider when we make the decision to discipline the kids. Now, do you withhold discipline? No, right? The Bible talks about with spare the rod, you're gonna spoil the child. And the rod does not mean beating; it means discipline. I take and do not discipline the child for wrong actions, then that's when they become spoiled. Not when I fail to beat them, they become spoiled. No, when I fail to correct them when they have made these mistakes. So I am now anti ass beating, as almost about 99%. I used to be pro, and it's funny because my older 2 kids, there's 4 years between them, 10 years between the oldest and the youngest. So they always call the younger brothers the little kids, right? And so it's like, hey, see, the little kids didn't get it like we got it, right?
Yeah.
Because of the evolution of me as a man and as a parent, right? But they got it too. And I think I have so much respect for my children have so much respect for me. If I deemed that even my youngest son at 19, if I deemed he deserved a whooping, I think he would take it because of the respect, not because of the fear and things of that nature. So that's my 2 cents, man. It's not an easy decision to make, but you know that everything that you do to these little people, right? Because we use the word kid, but these are little human beings.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
What we do to them in that state could affect them the rest of their lives. So be cautious, And just like if you feel that you should whoop them and you don't, and that causes them to end up in jail or something, I understand all of that. Just really be careful and understand all the dynamics at play here. It's not as simple as I'm going to beat my kids because I got beat. No, man, there's a lot more that comes into play.
Yeah, you know what? Awesome points. Real quick, I want to hit this comment from our page. Donna Lucas says, I will edit hers, but she said, she ain't spank her kids too much, and she's got 3 kids, and she would get the oldest. And by the time the other 2 saw the oldest get their butt toe up, they didn't want none. So it helped them to alter. The oldest one was the sacrifice. It helped them to alter
that smoke after seeing the oldest get beat.
It was like,
but that's to my point though. Now, what does the oldest feel about taking all the beat down, and the youngest didn't get beat as much? And I'm not judging you, Donna, for raising your kids the way you raise your kids. I'm just saying there's a lot that really, I am someone who suffered from trauma as a kid. And when I think and I look back and I'm like, man, why did they do that?
I'm
almost 50 years old and that scar still hurts, right? And that's what I want parents to be conscious of, that it's not as easy as I'm gonna spank you, you're gonna not do that thing anymore. Or in some cases, like mine, I needed 2, 3, 4, 5 spankings. We had these cherry trees. I grew up on Enright when I was a kid, and we had these cherry trees. Man, when them mothers came in and bloom, them cherries were so big, they were so black, they were so juicy. My grandmama say, "Don't you go in that cherry tree." And I don't know if you know, people, if you this might be too TMI for some of y'all, but when you eat too many cherries, they affect your bowels in a way. And I would be in there lying to my, I ain't had no cherry from, I ain't been in that cherry tree. But now I'm in the bathroom all day. You've been in that cherry tree, so it's time for you to get it.
Right. It's time. It's time. Your butt gonna get it twice.
And that is not as cut and dry as I'm gonna spank you. You're no longer gonna do that, and that's the end of it.
Not
the end of it, y'all.
That's
all I want us to be aware of.
Yeah, there's definitely a healthy balance there. And like I said, I think if there was one thing we can leave with parents, we'll have our closing, but I'm going to hit these top 5 reasons why you should not, or why spanking doesn't work. Reason number 1. Now, some of these I agree with, some of these okay. So reason number 1, spanking equates violence as a problem solver. It should be. Letter of life, sometimes you have a problem and you just can't get a result to you. Somebody
listen, sometimes this problem gonna go away until some furniture get moved around.
There it is. You know what I'm saying? I set the precedence. You're welcome. There it is. So it says that physical punishment such as spanking distracts a child from learning how to resolve conflict in an effective and humane way. If that's happening, you ain't doing it right. That's where we go back to balance. That's gonna be my phrase. That's the phrase that pays. You ain't doing it right. Number 2, hitting triggers a fear response, and it should. Okay, it says the fear response triggers the fight or flight instinct, and adrenaline and the cortisol flood our bloodstream and brains. Now, what I said earlier in the other comments, the other study that I did, there's a difference between being afraid, I'm scared, and then reverence, which is respect. You know what I'm saying? So if it's triggering fear, like you and the coward in the corner cowering, I ain't gonna lie, my daughter used to sit in the shopping cart buggy, 4 or 5-ish years old, and she was always, again, my youngest, picking, and she's sitting in the buggy, and she was doing something, and I went to point, and I did this, and she was like, whoa, and then somebody walked past and was like, you did quick going upside that baby head. I was like, I'm gonna get you. She instantly, she was like, whoa. Stop it. I wasn't even coming for you. I'm reaching for the cereal. Stop playing. You ain't getting no sweet cereal. You get cornflakes. But it's just, yeah, it shouldn't do that. It says spanking can promote low self-esteem. You ain't doing it right. If it does that, it says studies have shown that regardless of how nurturing a family is, spanking always lowers self-esteem. Not always true. You can't put a blanketed statement on it. I can see in some ways, like, yes, I might have had some self-esteem issues coming up, but that's because I had a daddy where my mama was loving me on the other side. I had a daddy that was on the other side, like, you're fat, you're picking up weight. When you gonna stop eating? Push back from the table. So my dad was very critical of my weight, and I think that played an effect. The beatings, no, I don't think that they tied into that. You know what I'm saying? So let's see our next one. Hitting teaches them to become hitters, and it should. You know what I'm saying? They even wrote a song about it. My hitter, my hitter. I'm just saying, everybody need a good one on their team. If it don't do that, you ain't doing it right. There it is. It says, well-known pediatrician Dr. William Sears believes that spanking demonstrates it's all right for people to hit others, and especially for big people to hit little people and stronger people to hit weaker people. Children learn when you have a problem, you solve it with a good swat. And you should. But again, there's the balance in that. It shouldn't be about being dominant and towering and stronger versus weaker. If you're doing it like that, you're doing it wrong, because that's not the motive in spanking. You know what I'm saying? The motive in spanking the underlying current should be love and discipline. And it shouldn't be to a point where you're damaging or breaking the person down. Again, hindsight. You don't whoop to break them. You whoop to discipline them. You know, oh my goodness.
Michelle, how can you not?
Here's the thing, I believe. Oh, I love it. Okay, I believe that if you spank and teach, again, it's how you do it, and not doing it for every situation. There are some things I explain way more to my kids than my mom did to me. Most of her answers was because I said so, and if I kept coming back, it was whack out, get on. Right. For my children, even though I did whoop, especially with my youngest, I try to explain. Here's why before the whooping even came. And then if you just kept on, you asking for it. You dialed the phone, picked up the phone, it's like order pizza. He was like, hey, can I get the beat down? I said, I got you. I got you. Your request is my demand. I got it. But I think if you explain here are the consequences and you give them the knowledge behind it, then it's not just about, oh, I'm beating you to exert dominance. We talked about this, we explained it, and you keep doing X, Y, Z. And if the motto, and you may have heard it in your household, if I don't do this now, later you're going to get out in the real world, and the real world will give you something way worse than a beatdown. It's called prison. It's called death. It's called, it's a whole lot of things. And I just think that if you're beaten to beat, you're beating for dominance, you're beating for control. Yes, it does take away and break self-esteem, but I think there is a way to constructively, couple swats. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm not saying I'm anti and with all of that stuff in mind, but I think there's still, I don't care how lovingly you do it, I think there's still always a level of trauma, right? Because I remember in times like Corey said, I would make sure I calmed myself down, right? But then as I'm calming myself down, what are my sons thinking? And they know a beat down is coming. What kind of trauma is that causing, where it's like being capital punishment? I'm on death row for a year and I know exactly when I'm going to die. How traumatizing is that? Now, I don't want to beat you because I don't want to beat you while I'm mad, but you're about to get a whooping, and I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to woosah. I'm going to calm down. And you in your room, like pacing back and forth, like, man, should I put on some extra clothes? That
extra clothes
also adds a level of trauma, right? And
I can see that.
So, like I'm saying, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I'm saying that the whole thing is traumatizing. Right?
I got one more question for you.
Way that and some, when they get to a certain age, right, where they blatantly breaking the rules. Like I had my son one time tell me I fixed him some grits, and he ain't like grits. I'm like, no, I cook breakfast. You eating these doggone grits. And he sat at the table for an hour. Grits cold, they stiff. And I'm like, boy, you eating these grits. I'm going to give you a whooping. He's like, give me my whooping so I can go on about my day. Then I got mad. No, I ain't giving you a whooping. You're going to eat these grits. Right. So I don't think when you're at a certain age, I don't think there is a moment where you can receive a whooping from a parent, somebody that you love, trust, and respect, and that not have some sort of traumatic impression on you. Now, how traumatic, how long it lasts, all that kind of stuff is, of course, debatable. But I don't think it does not create some sort of trauma, because I listen to the way my sons talk about their experiences at 28 and 26 years old, and I'm like, it wasn't like that. But how can I tell them what it was like for them, what they experienced, right?
Right.
Like, man, that was not what I was trying to have you guys learn from that situation. So,
man, this is I love this because I love the expression here. I got two challenging questions for you. The first question is, do you think that if you had been disciplined differently, right? If it had been done differently, would there still have been, which we really never will know because it wasn't, but do you think that there could have been a different outcome? Not better, but different. And then also number two, for someone that doesn't discipline, maybe you bring a child up and you've never disciplined, and children are different. I got a friend and she often tells me, I've never had a spanking and I'm fine. I'm a great, human being, yada, yada, yada. But if you bring up a child and you've never spanked them and they do the things that children do, and they are defiant, they are disobedient, they cut up in school, they cut up on everyone around them, you try taking things from them and it doesn't make a difference. Okay, you take that from me, I got this over here. Okay, you take that from me, I got this over here. You do those things and you wind up with this child that's now 16 and out of control, talking to you crazy, disrespecting. Where does it, and not that spanking would have solved that, because that's again, if you're not doing it right, then that's not necessarily the answer for the problem. But now you have a child where you've tried to enforce rules by simply talking, taking things away, and they've not responded to that. What is your option with that? That's why you got parents out there giving away children with them. Anyway. But what would be, you got to go. What is in
Oklahoma, where I understand that if they under 18 and you drop them off and left them, somebody would care for those kids till they're 18. And don't ask me how I know about this place.
Right.
Like
I don't want to know. The Cortez got 12 kids. We don't know what happened to the other 6.
Yeah.
It's
No, that is our job as parents, is to find the right method of discipline.
Yeah.
And if it is spanking your child and that works for you and your household, in the interim, understand that you could still be causing long-term damage. But I understand that you don't want a kid out of control that could leave your house and being defiant and disrespectful to authority and having problems everywhere they go. So there's a thin line between how and the methods of discipline and how effective they are.
I'll agree.
No doubt about that. But I would say to the person who has that defiant, it's a lack of discipline just altogether is what sometimes creates that. If there's no medical or emotional trauma and other issues, ADHD and neglect and sexual abuse and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This defiance a lot of times.
Yes.
When it goes unchecked. But if there's none of that, then usually it's that person did not just not beat their kid or whoop their kid. That person just did not discipline that kid at all. Right. And sometimes, like you said, taking stuff away isn't the extreme. And when you really get in tune to that love language of that child, and that child really starts to understand that you love them, that's where their respect for you grows. And out of that respect, it's like, man, I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt the person that loves me this much. But if their love language is gifts and all you want to do is talk and encourage them, they're like, Daddy don't love me.
Right.
He don't
Right.
buy me nothing. He don't never buy me nothing. So he can't love me. And because he doesn't love me, I don't care about disrespecting him. I don't care about breaking his rules because he don't love me no way.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when you're in tune with that, it's like, man, I love receiving gifts and Daddy buys me a little trinket almost every day. How could I not follow the rules of somebody who loves me this much?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And it goes deep, but I think somebody said that as Black people, it's our go-to because of the way we was raised, and that goes all the way back to the way we were conditioned through slavery and the whole nine yards. It goes deep.
It was. And, it does.
I don't have the answers. We're not professing that we have the answers.
Not at all.
Thing to talk about, and we knew that there will be some difference in opinions and all of that kind of stuff. So Lay Low says, not gonna lie, whoopings made me a better person.
My dog.
Now watch this. Lay Low, this is no disrespect to you and how you were raised, but because we don't know how you would have turned out not getting whoopings, we can't say that definitively, can we?
Lalo could be even a better. He could be even a better person. He could be even better than he is now.
He could be. I'm just saying. Lalo sounds like he was asking for some whoopings and some people in his life obliged, so it made him a better person. So I get it.
Right. Sound like somebody was like, "Hey, dog, lay low, like lay low." That's how he got his nickname. He wouldn't tell us that, so they didn't tell you that. Man, this has been great.
Hey, remember, if you don't put QOTD in front of your answer, we don't know you're responding to the question of the day, and you can't get entered into the drawing to win the free vacation. It's 8:00, Michelle. This was fun. Last words, sis.
I don't want to go. Last words. Beach kids. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm just gonna say.
I saw the flyer. $8.
When they sleep, wake them up. Just because they probably dreaming about doing something wrong. Nah. I'm just gonna say.
Because I tell my wife all the time. One of the challenges we have is with our kids cleaning up, right? And I would jokingly say, "Hey, that's because they didn't do like our parents did. If we were supposed to clean the kitchen and we went to bed without cleaning the kitchen, we got a butt whooping in our sleep. Get your butt up and go." I said, we didn't do that to our kids. We spoil them. We ruin them. That's what. But how dramatic is that, though?
You get woke up by, my God. That is, I'm just going to say this in closing. Don't be afraid. This gonna feel good. Make me shiver. Don't be afraid to parent greatly. And that means don't be afraid to question what your mama did, question what your grandmama did, what your grandmama did. Be honest enough to look at yourself, and just because they did it doesn't make it right. I'm learning that at almost 40 something. That just because my mama did it and I loved my mama, not everything she did disciplinary style was right. And so it took a lot for me to face that, because I felt like I was saying something was wrong with my mama. Something was wrong with my mama. She suffered from her childhood traumas. She suffered from things in her past that was pushed on me, that I pushed on mine. So as my children are young adults and they prepare to become parents, that's my encouragement to them and to other parents. Don't be afraid to parent greatly. And that just means exploring every aspect of being a parent and being open to being wrong and then getting it right. As right as can be.
I love it. Right. I love it. And for me, guys, especially as Black people in this country, we've experienced a whole lot of trauma in our existence here. And a lot of that trauma has gone unchecked. And when it goes unchecked, we create behaviors and cultural norms that we just keep passing down and passing down. I'm not saying don't beat your kids. I'm not saying beat your kids. What I'm saying is find the way to discipline your children that's going to work for you and for them in the interim and in the long term. Right? Because you got to remember, everything that a child experiences goes with them through the rest of their life. So keep those things in mind, not just because I got whoopings growing up and they didn't kill me, I'm gonna whoop my kids growing up.
Yeah.
Or hey, I don't believe in spanking my kids because I think timeout is a better option. No, figure out how to establish the respect for your children and have them establish that respect for them or for you, so that they don't want to habitually break the rules. And just keep in mind everything that you do to these little human beings, right? We say the word kid, we say the word child, and sometimes that becomes anything other than human. These are little human beings. So treat them with the humanity that you would want to be treated, even though they are your offspring and you are responsible for them. Just be careful how you love them, how you discipline them, and how you care for them, because those scars don't go away. Trust me, I've got plenty of them. And now almost 50, they still hurt as much today as they did 20, 30, 40 years ago. So be careful. With that, we have time.
You almost 50?
So until we talk to y'all next time, we want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it. Each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
All the time.